Greetings, YouTube. Welcome to such a special episode of my interview series. With all due respect to everybody that I've interviewed so far, and we have interviewed some really important, great people, I am in my life, not just on my YouTube channel, in my life, I've never been more honored than to talk to somebody as I am right now to speak to the analyzer. This is the first time he's really had a chance to talk to the community and just not only tell us how he's doing and where he's been, but also to kind of just hopefully with me reading a lot of your comments, hear what the kids call the flowers as they go. And so, sir, I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for taking time. I know you're in a position right now where your time is precious, so thank you for giving some of your time to the channel and to the community.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure with the way everybody responded so generously to, assist me. It's been a pleasure myself, and the least I could do is come to the availability to express my gratitude and do that during this interview. So the feeling's mutual.
So I kind of wanted to start off there. Is there anything you want to just say overarching to the community and all the people that have reached out or donated or just sent prayers and support?
Yes, I want to thank you all so much for your support. It's been widely used in this situation. It's been helping bills, rent, all the stuff that I was working on a daily basis to cover. It's been helping greatly, and it's the last thing I expected out of all of this, to be assisted, but also at the same time the mental support, just so everybody encouraging me, picking me up. If I look at a bunch of the comments, wherever they may be coming from, people reaching out to me and just on a daily basis really, really mentally gets me through the next day. So.
Well, and I want this video to be a place where people can continue to pour comments in, as is your social media and everything else. You all please continue to do that, because as you can hear, it really does mean a lot. One of the questions that a bunch of people asked is, do you still play the game right now with everything you're going through?
So I actually did pick it up on my new phone. The issue with the iPhone 8 Plus that I had was it exceeded its data, and I didn't have any more storage space. And at the same time, I was very occupied with work, training for a show, everything else, and I had kind of, I would say, fallen from the game at that point. Well, right before everything happened, I had gotten the iPhone 13. And so once I had gotten my phone, I was at Dot Hall Rehabilitation. I was able to start playing the game again and, open crystals and stuff, which hopefully eventually I can get into the means of uploading videos again like that, which I think would be awesome. But yes, I've been playing the game, and I started the Trauma Nation Alliance, not the original one, but the one that I was in. I somehow got demoted, I guess, to a member when I was a leader, and I logged in, and I was kind of confused about that. But I guess there's other things I don't really know with being off the game as long as I was. If you can get demoted or if you've been inactive for so long, but yeah, we play Alliance War, Alliance Quest. Goddess Jada and I, we're on as much as we can, So yeah.
Well, the first comment I wanted to read you is from Triz Time Dorks, who said, you are an old alliance mate in Pastor Sammy's alliance, and that you've inspired so many people. Everybody has said that regardless of if you take a break from the game or not, you will always be the definition of perfect intercepts to them. So just keep that in mind, which is pretty amazing. That's your legacy, no matter what. By the way, you are the perfect intercepting god. Have you had? Because when I think of perfect intercepts, I now think of Hercules. Have you had a chance to play around with Hercules as a 5 or 6 star?
Not as a 6 star.
Okay.
I yes, I have actually gotten to play as him a little bit. I think it's pretty interesting. I've kind of learned that you can build up with heavy attacks or intercepts to it's like a passive damage that comes along with his actual attacks and correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like if bleed or poison were to be inflicted, it's like a damage that hits one time after the attack. I'm not too familiar with some of the stuff like that, but I think it's kind of cool that you can build his attack, increase it by heavy attacks and intercepts. So that's pretty nice with them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, quite a few of the questions also revolved around what your day-to-day looks like now. I don't know if it's better to have you explain as much as you're comfortable with, like, what you remember and how you got here first before you talk about what your day-to-day looks like now.
So on a daily basis, right now I'm going through physical therapy. I was going through occupational therapy. Then one of the guys that I had been working with, I guess he broke his finger playing flag football one night. So haven't been doing that as much, which ironically I kind of was seeing him for. My fingers, I have ulnar damage, potentially tendons, not entirely sure, but I was seeing him for that as well. But physical therapy, at least, I've still been keeping up with, and that's to try and assist me to get better at walking. Primarily, I'm using a walker right now. So the goal is to continue on to get better at walking and just address the issues I'm having.
Do you remember anything, or is the first thing you remember just being in the hospital?
So when all this happened, I woke up very incoherently, and I was kind of explained the situation, didn't fully comprehend it. Well, when I got my full cognition, I guess you could call it, it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks in of being in the hospital. That's when I was explained the situation, and at that point, I didn't remember going into work the day of the accident. I didn't remember like a few days before. The last thing I started to recall was the men's physique show that I did 4 days prior. And I had to be reminded about that. That wasn't just like I got, oh, that I remember the show. Like I had to be told about it. I showed videos and I was like, oh yeah, of course. I remembered, instances I had that only I would have saw backstage, and stuff like that was kind of coming back to me. For a while, there was people that I couldn't remember at work. That eventually I remembered who they were. It wasn't that I didn't know who they were, but it's like they left my mind and I couldn't think of who I worked with, really. It was very bizarre. There was even some remembrances like a year out, like the whole pandemic that hit kind of pushed me off of working for Jaguar Land Rover dealership in Germain. It's a dealership in Columbus, and so I was with the Germains for about 3 years, and I remembered that, but I didn't remember a position I had before then that was for about 5 months at a warehouse. Got reminded about that. Just it was very patchy, I guess you'd call it, memory. So
were you on your way to work when it happened?
No. So, and I guess I'll explain how this all went down, because I was told about it. I don't remember anything of the mishap, and I don't remember going into work that day. So I went into work. I got the packages I was supposed to deliver for that day, and I was told it was my sixth stop number 6. It was on State Route 104. It was a 11,600 address of some sort. I was delivering a package there. The package got on the porch. So at the same time of all this going on, there was a driver on 71, and this is the interstate that he's at, and there's weaving in and out of cars he was doing. There's multiple calls called on him, and he hit 2 different semis. So he was just recklessly driving. So eventually cops started to follow him, and he got off on exit 104, and he started driving. What I was told was that he was on fentanyl. He had fentanyl in his system. He had a bag of it in his car. He was drinking, but he was coherent enough to realize what he was doing. He was just very, very impaired. So he made the decision at the time when I was behind my vehicle. I was about 3 feet behind my FedEx cargo van, and he drove off of the road about 15 to 20 feet off of the road and hit me at 50 miles an hour plus. And I wish it stopped there, but I was on the vehicle for about 50 to 75 feet, and I disconnected from it, thankfully, because right after that he hit a tree and it flipped the vehicle and completely totaled it. So if I had been connected to the vehicle at that time, that would have been safe to say that's it. So that's the extent of what happened.
So you were standing outside your vehicle when he hit you?
Yes.
Were the doctors surprised you survived?
They were in shock.
I'm in shock.
The police there reported that 98% of people would not have made it alive from that. So it's.
Do you think it's because you were in such good shape, like competition shape, that your body was able to sustain that kind of impact? Because I know my body wouldn't have been able to. No way.
I honestly strongly believe, my fitness saved my life. God, took over the situation, saved my life. There's a lot of factors that kind of point in one direction, and it's very, very likely that because of the conditioning I was in, that I was likely to stand that and not fall victim to what it could have been.
That's superhero like stuff. I mean, seriously, like that's something that you see in the Hawkeye series when somebody rams into Kingpin. Only you're obviously not Kingpin.
Right.
You just touched on this. Praetor Zawai from SGA Praetorzw. He asked this question, and you just touched on this, so I thought it was appropriate to bring it up now.
Sure.
How has this impacted your faith and just your outlook on the life that you still have? And I know you're going through a lot of pain. I don't want to discount that, but the fact that you're still here, I mean, how has that changed your perception of what you've been given?
When I first woke up and I was told of the situation, it just brought me to tears. Something so hard to fathom that I went through, and I'm still alive. It's just and since that moment, it's been a real eye opener that God was looking out. He was there. For me, he's always been. And another reason that that was a big case that it's a God thing. There was a community church right outside of where the accident was, on the left side of the road. And when I was going into surgery that Sunday, the whole church prayed for me. They all knew about the situation and said prayers when I was going into surgery for everything. So,
did they have any idea how long it took between when you were hit and when you were able to get to a hospital?
That I'm not so sure about, but what I was told was I was even resuscitated on the spot. There was medics out there. There were people that were able to, because I had a collapsed lung. There was people there to revive me, basically. One of the neighbors knew somebody in the medical field, and they came out to assist everyone. And they first went off to kind of help the guy in the car, but he was being really resistant to help and trying to run away, get away. But then they found me. They saw what kind of happened at that point. And they were able to resuscitate me. So very, very, very blessed and thankful for, God looking out for me on that, because had it been anywhere else, it could have been hours before anyone had any medical apparatuses on me. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Junora commented that recovery is not just physical but mental. What steps are you taking to make sure that you're good on both as much as possible? And they also sent much love in their comment.
Thank you. That's a very good question and statement. It's that's so true. It's I was told that there's a lot of mental stuff to come with it, and at the time I was just thankful and everything and happy to interact and be alive. But I must admit, it's when it come to laying in bed 23 and a half hours a day, whereas before I would do 22,000 steps a day and do morning cardio, go to work, get off, go to the gym, repeat that 5-6 days a week. It's mentally it's a huge change when you're not really able to be mobile like you once were, and the fact that you have to sit there and dwell in it makes it all that much harder. So I just try to be very positive and kind of submerge myself in family, friends, whoever's willing to see me. Obviously, I picked back up on the game to kind of occupy myself. That's helped out a lot. TV shows. It's been a battle each day to kind of try to find time to occupy myself. But with each day, I get to see people I haven't seen in a while. I saw one of the coworkers I actually knew before work. He has been with FedEx for 20 years. But that's funny. His name's Andy, so share the same name. And he's been awesome through all this, very supportive. He sometimes hang out or talk with me and everything and kind of get my spirits up. So Um, it's it's just very helpful to kind of submerge yourself in stuff that you were doing before, to a certain extent, I'll say, to kind of get back into, I guess, the same reality that you once were before all of this, if that makes sense. Because when I woke up, it's like it's very bizarre, but it's almost like I entered into a new reality, that was completely different than when I before the accident. So it's that's the best way I can explain it. Is it's like a separate reality, that it's felt at times. So.
Do you know if the person that hit you survived?
Yes, yeah. He apparently he was just in the hospital for a day. So he, as far as I know, he's not got too many injuries. So.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You've touched on Jada a little bit. There were a lot of questions that people wrote in asking about her in general. Do you want to speak to what she's been like in your life through all of this?
Jada's been an absolute rock through all of this. With passing along information to being there for me. She's, when I got released from Dodd, my main concern was getting my wounds dressed. It was a process. They would put bacitracin on, and then Zeroform or Adaptic, and then they would wrap that with acrylic gauze wrap, also with some gauze pads underneath that, and then they would put ACE wrap around it, and that was done every 12 hours. When it was time for her to be able to, do the next wound dressings for me, she did it better than the nurses than there. It's just she was able to completely dress me just fine, and she had experience from when she tore ACL, meniscus, and everything. She had surgeries and stuff, and she also grew up on a farm where there'd be animals that she would dress wounds and everything too. So she took her experience from all that and applied that, and that was my main concern. But she quickly addressed that, and it was just so comforting to be able to experience that.
Does she still play the game at all?
Yes, yeah, she plays alongside with me in the same alliance. She's an officer as well. The alliance is a trauma nation. It's like I said, not the original trauma nation that I made, but it's one since I stepped down from Pastor Sammy's alliance and just kind of made my own alliance again. But so she's in there, and we do war and AQ and side quests and all that stuff right now. So
now, careful. You might get a bunch of requests now that you're saying that in this interview. So you might have a waiting list.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't mind talking to people. It's always encouraging to be able to express feelings, especially now that there's certain things I've felt and gone through that I've never experienced before. It's just and sometimes all it takes is for someone else to step in that cares, and just asking, and those things kind of help to cope and get along and continue improving. So,
well, I have a feeling, not just with comments, but other ways, you're going to see, just from letting the community know through this video, the outpouring of support that's waiting for you. I mean, it's unlike anything that I have seen before, and it's well deserved. I mean, I know I've told you this behind the snes, but you inspired me to create this YouTube channel. So I have so much to thank for you, and not just to give me your time right now for this video, but I mean, your videos are and have always been so good that I feel like they're like the filet mignon, and not mine's like somehow expired ramen, if that's even possible.
I wouldn't sell yourself short, but your videos are very encouraging and very exuberant too in their own ways. Very informational as well.
Well, you've inspired a lot of people. In fact, there are a lot of questions that we haven't had a chance to get to yet that want to know, do you miss making videos at all? I mean, because you were so good at it.
Absolutely. I miss the whole process of getting to see people's reactions. I would always make videos in the manner that I could go back and watch a video, be entertained, and, oh, here's this part about to come up, and, watch it and enjoy it. That was always my motive, just extra things that weren't always necessary, but they made the video 10 times better. Of course, I miss the reactions, the whole cinematic aspect of it. I miss pouring out my abilities and skills that I had over the years. I experienced with vocational schools and went to college for video and audio and everything. So I definitely miss portraying those skills and the channel. And that's not to say that maybe one day I won't re-enter that. It could very well be.
Logistically, and you touched on this a little bit before we started recording, but logistically, can you explain whether it be technology limitations, or what is the process that it would take to get you back to posting even a video a month on your channel?
So, for me, I've always been very critical on what I post, because I want to make sure that it's, of the same caliber of material that I once did. So I've been critical in that manner, but of course, if there's an understanding and it was just a simple cam of myself with the gameplay of the video, and mic quality, video quality wasn't really, I suppose, even, on the phone, things could be recorded when using certain applications. But to go back into the studio that I once had and be able to record with my MXL Genesis mic and use the cameras and everything, I have that set up it's at my folks. And when I started FedEx, I was able to get a place of our own here with, Jada. But the problem with bringing all that equipment has been that being a one bedroom, one bath apartment at the moment, we have our dog. Ironically, his name's Aegon. So
that's amazing. I don't know if that's fantastic.
Spoiler alert, I guess. I mean, we've had him for a year now. But yes, if you're just now learning, yes, his name's Aegon. But he's a golden retriever Rottweiler mix, and so the last thing we would want to have happen is he goes through the cords, starts chewing them, and we don't really have a space that would separate all that necessarily. So, with a mic and then laptop recorded, and even speakers, I would say that probably kind of have to bring. It's just unfortunately bad news for possibly waking up saying, oh, okay, the cord's chewed up. That can't be replaced unless you buy the product again. So there's just been that limitation. Having the separate room has kind of been the goal, for a studio setup. But we unfortunately just haven't had the room to bring it to where I'm at currently. Plus, to get back into the studio room area right now, I would have to I think, go up at least 2 flights of stairs to do that. So that'd be a little difficult. I'm not saying I can't do that right now, but it's pretty difficult given what's happened. So
Definitely. So the goal is maybe a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment next.
Well, yeah, and we've been honestly looking because unfortunately our lease for this place ends pretty soon, and we were looking for things, and it's the prices in the markets and everything else have kind of gone up over the past year, unfortunately, where our location is. So we're just kind of keeping our eyes open at the moment. That's the goal eventually, is to be able to move the equipment, even outside of the game, but just to have all of that back. But of course, it'll also allow me to have access to it at that point.
Well, I appreciate the update. By the way, Reese and others want you to know that in honor of you, they've been practicing perfect intercepts. So that's a goal in the game. I don't know if you know who Coy Rollins is. He commented. He said you might know this because he said he's been through somewhat similar tragedy as what you're going through right now. But he just wants to know. And I know you're super humble, so I'm not even sure. This might be the most uncomfortable question I've asked so far. But he says, how much of a badass does it feel like you are now? Because to him, you are a total badass for what you've been through. And so how does it feel to know that even in these dark days, you're still inspiring people by continuing to get up and do physical therapy and pick yourself up?
Well, in the manner of the question, it does make me feel, very, I guess you could say, well, I mean, at least 100% badass. I'm not going to lie. That's to say the least, unfortunately, just,
Sure.
With the circumstances. But yeah, with, what it is that I put up with on a daily basis, it's sometimes it encourages me. Sometimes it's rough, and I tell myself if there's any moment that anything I could have done differently that day, to not make it happen, like within a heartbeat, I would change anything to result to change the results for that day. Yeah, so it's been an experience to get through. It's just at the same time, mentally, it's hard to take in sometimes with all that it's come with, just 20 different documented injuries and probably a good 5 to 10 at least, that haven't been figured out or found that I can kind of experience.
So do you know if you're going to have more surgeries in the next coming months?
So I was recommended by one of the orthopedic doctors who put rods in my legs. He recommended to look into getting surgery again, and what that would do is allow him to take hardware out, reswap it for other hardware, and potentially put in larger rods, which would require basically drilling the center of my bones down a little bit more so they would fit. And kind of just going to that appointment to hear that's kind of rough. I don't know if that's something that's necessary or if he's, just kind of recommending it for, because he's a doctor and that's just what he felt the need to do. My left leg is healing well. It's coming along. I can put my weight on it and slowly start to kind of balance one leg on it. Now the right leg, at times it can only hold about 10 to 20%. So it's been super rough when it comes to walking and trying to transition from a walker to a cane, because not really able to balance the right side very well, given that it was my right elbow that had gotten fractured. So doing anything tricep related, it's been difficult when trying to fully extend the tricep. So there might be tendon stuff there that hasn't been addressed that needs done. So
you said you were at work. Has your company been able to do anything for you, given that you were technically on the job when the accident happened?
Yeah, so they have me they had me on workers' comp, and luckily, with the situation now, I was kind of told that upper management went out to the scene and was trying to document stuff, and unfortunately, essentially kind of get out of it if they possibly could, and say like, well, maybe he was in the middle of the road or too close to the mailbox. He shouldn't have been, but with the police report, they were able to see the tire tracks in the lawn and know that I was right behind the vehicle where the vehicle went. Since the vehicle was flipped and everything, and wasn't able to move after it had been totaled. They knew at that point it couldn't have driven elsewhere, so where it drove was where it drove. It couldn't have just driven in the road and backed up, and so their synopsis was kind of proven wrong. So it was a little bit disheartening to hear that they were trying to make it out that I wasn't really supposed to be doing things or trying to find fault. But regardless, there was that. And but yes, they had me on workers' comp, and unfortunately, after 12 weeks due to the pandemic, the wages went off after a year of what I was making, and there was a good portion of that I wasn't working, because when I was at a dealership, that's when the pandemic originally hit. So when that hit, they saw us as not necessary. So they let us go because we were there to detail cars, clean them, that kind of stuff, help with service. So they let us go from that. So the whole time I was, looking for other positions that would be more secure and better off. And eventually I got into FedEx from there. And, but that does affect workers' comp with the state of Ohio. After 12 weeks, they go off of what you're making for the year. So, it went down specifically around $800 a month, unfortunately, from what it was. So it's, and again, that's where, the support had come from. It's been very helpful, at that point, just to be able to get by and make do. It's hard to say for the future what it holds, as months go by, but I guess as long as they don't expect me to come back lickety split, should be okay.
I had posted the link to your channel on the community page where people could submit questions for this interview, and a couple people had commented to me privately that there was a PayPal link. Do you know if that PayPal link in your community page or in your YouTube channel page is still active? Do you still receive those funds?
I would imagine so.
Okay.
If it is there, I would have to check to make sure. But in the event that it's, well, no, it would be correct. I would think. I would say that that's correct. I can look a little bit later just to verify.
Great.
But I would say that that should be linked up where it needs to be.
Is the GoFundMe link that was updated recently, is that still active?
Yeah, so that's still active, I believe. Um, it sends through, I think, on a weekly basis. I would say, it's stopped since then, of course. But if anyone were to donate, it would receive within the week.
Because
I believe it is at that point.
I asked PayPal first because I know it's immediate. And so
Right,
if
right.
somebody watching this did want to donate, would you prefer they went through PayPal or the GoFundMe?
Um, Honestly, I mean either or.
Okay.
But like you said, PayPal's instant. If it's andrewnoltemeyer at gmail.com, that's the one I use currently. It's hard to say without looking what it would be. But it's my full name at gmail.com for PayPal that I use. So
Okay, I'll make sure to put that in the description of this box. I know we still have about 20
okay.
minutes left. I do want to let you know, since I asked. I haven't told him this. He has no choice, but whatever ad revenue this video makes, I'm going to match it and then send you a check. So you don't get to fight that, by the way. I also told him this behind the scenes, and I don't know if he thought I was joking or not, but once you actually do have a studio, I'm going to help you buy a new iMac. So he is going to get a channel back eventually. But this, you are not allowed to say no to any of this, by the way.
That's when I originally heard you talking about that, I was kind of blown away with that, and just and at first in disbelief, but the more persistent you got with it, that's incredible. That's too generous.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's
You are incredible, and it's the least I can do. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be inspired to hear your story. And look, I wish that I could go back and save you from that trauma. I know you do too, but some good has already come out of this for people. And after this interview, when people hear your story, I can guarantee you God's going to use it in ways that we may never know, but it's going to happen. And I'm excited to do that for you. If you said no to me, you would be robbing me the opportunity to thank you in the best way I know how. So it's actually an honor to do that for you. It's not something that I'm doing out of charity or anything else. It's exciting for me to do that. So just know you have no choice in the matter. It's going to happen. And I was persistent. He wouldn't respond. I was like, I'm going to help get you a new computer. And he wouldn't respond. I'm like, I want to send the same message over. I'm just going to start spamming his inbox. But yeah, the minute you have the actual ability to, maybe it's going to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, and you start setting things up, you're getting a new computer, and we're gonna spec the thing out, man. It's not going to be a minimum hard drive. We're going to get you a couple, 2 gig or 2 terabyte hard drive kind of thing. So just know you have that to look forward to whenever you get to that point.
I really appreciate that. That means the world.
Well, you mean the world to all of us. And the first time that I saw that tweet, my heart sank because I was worried. And of course, she posted pictures. I was worried there was a chance that you wouldn't snap out of it and that maybe that was goodbye. And I just kept thinking, I wonder if he even knows what he meant to my channel, what he meant to so many people. And I feel like one of the best blessings of you being able to have this conversation right now is that you get to know, and I know that you know, how much you mean to people. You are one of the OGs of YouTube, but more than that, and I think this is the reason why it's so cool to talk to you. Even though you had left the YouTube space and you'd left the gaming community, people followed your workout pages and everything because they just thought you were a super cool, nice dude, and obviously you still are. And so I just want you to know, if you weren't the human being that you are outside of the game, the enthusiasm wouldn't be there. And so you're still going places, my friend. You're going places.
That's really encouraging to hear. And it truly is a blessing. That cognitively speaking, I would say I'm mostly all there. With everything I have, all my memories, I can compute the same. It's, there's no issue. And when I was at Dodd, it's, I seen people that had severe brain injury, and it really disheartened me how closely that could have been me, and I could have very easily, if the accident had gone 100 different ways, suffered some of that. So that's really big that God allowed, the full complete restoration of my cognitivity. So
it's a miracle. I mean, and I don't say that lightly. Like, it's not like you were wearing a football helmet when you got hit by a car, And I mean, you had to crash into something. Something had to stop your body. It just seems impossible. Like, I thought I knew what you went through, but now hearing you explain it, if you're just joining this interview and just happen to click on, we're gonna do a live premiere, and then you can rewatch it. Like, the man you said at about 50 miles an hour.
Over 50 miles an hour.
Got hit by a car
when I was in the lawn.
When he was standing on the side of the road. Which, I mean, it's just, again, it feels like something you'd see in a Disney Plus show, not in real life. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, but at the same time, it is the honor of my life to get to have this conversation with you. So thank you again. I know we're in the last 15 minutes of this interview, and you've been so incredibly generous with your time, and I want to thank you again for that. If people, not just financially, but if people want to just help you in any way, what would you tell them? Because there are going to be a lot of people who listen to this who just want to reach out, and even if it's just prayers or comments, just want to do all they can to help.
Absolutely. Prayer is the biggest thing I can ask for. Right now, it's been mentally rough to get through, everything. And I would say right now, for prayer being the utmost importance that I could ask for. I mean, obviously God is in control of everything, with this circumstance. And to me, that the continued prayer, the more I get, I feel like the more that helps me to manage and be able to get through on a daily basis what I have to go through.
I want you to know there were some people who commented, because they didn't know you were still even playing the game. They said, I thought this was pretty cool. Please tell him to come back to the game because I want to send him greater gifting crystals next December.
Nice.
Which I thought was pretty special.
That is funny.
So I know this is a much lighter question, but I thought in order to get some more in, quite a few people ask, like, do you still have a favorite champion, like when you're opening the game and you're wanting to just have fun that you enjoy playing around with?
So as of right now, I would say when it comes to damage output, if I'm doing a side quest or need somebody that takes out sporadic champions, I would say Namor and Sunspot are my personal go-to at the moment, that I've experienced that they can hold up well with certain fights. When it comes to power control, Dr. Doom, he's been very, very good with me doing certain fights. Now, on the tech side, I would say Ghost has really been vital, getting in heavy attacks, and then evading, throwing an SB2, that kind of stuff. Very useful for evading specials that you can't just normally evade, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Ghost, Namor, Sunspot, and Dr. Doom, as well as Quake. I would say those 5 champions I was who I typically will go on a quest in with and use quite a bit.
What would you say to someone who wants to one day have the skills that you do in the game that you displayed on your channel for several years, but doesn't know where to start? Maybe they're a newer player, maybe they're a player that's been playing for a few years but feels stuck. Like, what advice would you give them to progress their skills in the game?
So, at this point in the game, you're asking, or back when I first started?
Yeah, well, we can do both. Yeah, because I'm sure some people would love to hear that too.
Okay. So the way I see the game going, completing the special event quests, as well as Act 1 through, 5, at least at that point, completing all of that is going to give you the vital resources that you need to obtain certain champions. There's obviously champions that do better than others, and with situations. So having power control is a big thing. I've always been one to recommend magic. Just being an OG character, she can control power. With the SB2, it's essentially an indefinite intercept lock with 4 combo hits, evade, go back in, 4 combo hits, evade, throw an SB2, repeat. Champions like that, I feel like, have a better opportunity to deal with most aspects of the game. So
one of my favorite videos you made was when you dressed up as Seaton when you got Kingpin from the OG featured 5-star crystal. Remember that? Do you feel vindicated now that Kingpin has had this amazing buff since you got him originally as a 5-star years ago?
So, I haven't really dabbled into Kingpin much. I don't know a whole lot about the buff, but I heard he has gotten buffed. It was just at the time, obviously, a featured 5-star. It was the first one I had gone for that I actually received, and
yeah, it's huge.
So for me, that that was something that normally didn't happen. So, but yes, that was at the time when the weather happened to be nice and go out to record, and made an elaborate video pulling a Kingpin. So yeah, I do. It's moments like that make it funny, and make me want to continue to do that kind of stuff. Maybe not so much to the falling at the moment.
Sure. Have you gotten to see the Red Mags buff at least?
I kind of noticed that he's been different.
You're in for some fun, my friend. If you haven't tried Red Mags and just parry heavy a whole bunch and then fire off like a special. Yeah.
No, I've seen that it's almost impossible to parry him anymore, and I'm thinking, okay, something's been changed, for sure. So, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like there's probably a few champions on your roster that you've had even as 5-stars that you've kind of just ignored because they were middle tier that are now God tier or beyond God tier. That some of you watching this, I'm just excited for you to comment like, hey man, I don't know, because I haven't seen your roster. I don't know. Do you have any rank 3 6-stars yet?
Not rank 3 6-stars. I've got a couple rank 2.
Okay, who are at rank 2 right now?
So I have Warlocks and Apocalypse. Warlock and Apocalypse right now, as a rank 2 6-star. And those are champions I probably pulled that I haven't really released, on the channel.
Yeah.
That oh hey, but yeah, now you know.
Spoiler alert.
So right. But no biggie, of course. The videos that I would have been able to pull or find that, probably my iPhone 8 Plus, more than likely. So,
Do you have a cable as a 5 or 6 star?
I don't believe I have Cable as a 6 star, but I do as a 5.
Have you played around with him in Apocalypse?
You said, have I played around with Cable
Yeah,
against
or with
Apocalypse?
Apocalypse, like on a synergy
Oh,
team.
with a
Yeah.
Synergy. No,
Okay,
I have
so I'm
not.
gonna get to give Prof's gonna have to get to give Analyzer something cool. This is like me paying it forward after years of him helping me without even knowing it's helping. So you know how Cable's got the degen on the heavy?
Right.
Well, Apocalypse Synergy, well, it does two things. First, it allows you to uh, get to have someone as a horseman or a woman after one successful fight instead of four with him on the team. So that's first bit of advice. But the second is Cable's an amazing horseman by himself because once you get him, that obviously gets the horseman qualities. But he double stacks the regen, or excuse me, the degen. So you can parry heavy and get like 6 stacks of degen and just watch the opponent melt in like 5 seconds just from bringing him in with Apocalypse. And it's not a 6 star only synergy you can do with your 5 star.
Wow. Okay. So,
That's my homework for you.
huh. So pair Apocalypse with Cable,
Yes.
and Cable becomes a
OP.
Degen god, basically.
A degen god, and again, you can do one fight. I would just go into any event quest and just test it out. Just make him a horseman and just parry heavy and start laughing. I mean, it's such a cheat code. And I am honored that I could give you this information. How cool is that? This is like me getting to teach Yoda something, you know. And I'm far from Luke Skywalker. Um, wow, that's amazing. Well, we're in our last 5 minutes, and again, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But going forward, if I could ask you, like, what do you hope to happen in the next year as people continue to follow you in 2022?
So, well, the biggest thing right now that I could request is that there would be people to still continue to encourage me, as time goes on, of course, and I feel like there's so many awesome people out there that's going to be the case. But right now, I'm hoping within this next year that at some point that I'm going to be able to properly walk better on my own and be able to be more confident in the healing process, especially with the right leg right now. It's some days are better than others, but using a walker, it kind of allows weight to be taken off the right leg at the moment, which is I guess you could call the problem child. But there's a pretty bad fracture site there where they had to remove a chunk of bone that still hasn't really united. It's got an area where it's potential that it could be a non-union. It takes about 6 to 9 months for a bone, if it doesn't grow within that time, to be considered that. So really just I'm hoping for better mobility over the next year, and to be able to address all the problems I'm having, and get that mental support when needed from people. So
You're never alone, my friend. This video is going to be a great reminder of that. Before we wrap up, I know some people are going to be asking what kind of alliance you're in, and if they want to potentially apply. Like, what does your alliance do as far as alliance quest or war or anything like that?
So we're active in War and Alliance Quest right now. We've been running Map 5 at the moment. I would say it's gotten more active, but it's also, I wouldn't say we're like platinum level or anything by any means. Trying to become the best of the best, but we're just consistently a little bit more active than what we once were, because there were some alliance mate that haven't gotten on for 80 to 90 days and stuff like that at one point. But most of everybody now has been active. But, in the event that other people move, and there has been some that wanted to go to other alliances, we're always welcome when we have the space to take others that would like to participate. So
you'd be amazed how many people are absolutely stacked but so burnt out of the game that they're looking for a map 5 gold war alliance to just, or even a silver, just to step back. And what's it called again for the audience out there?
It's called a trauma nation. It's spelled like ATROMI nation, and the tag I want to say should be ATROM. I'll have to look that up just to make sure. But and if it's not ATROM, then the O might be a 0. I'm thinking.
Okay.
On terms of tags, how to find it.
And if you give me permission, I can always put that information not only
sure.
On a community page, but also in this video. I want you to know, and I've never told anybody this, but as we wrap up, like, your story has changed my life, and I pray that those watching this video feel that same level of change and inspiration. It is the ultimate honor that my YouTube channel, which used to review pizza and Oreos as my gift to society, and gift in the most sarcastic sense of the word, can now be a platform to deliver this story. And I just ask those of you, whether you donate to this man who deservingly is worthy of everything that you can support, or pray for him, or just comment. It's easy. I've lost a number of people during the pandemic, and it's easy when something happens to say something, but then a week goes by, a month goes by, and it kind of gets out of the back of your mind, and you just stop checking in. And that's when the support means the most. And so, my friend, I'm also telling you this because hopefully my DMs and everything else don't get annoying, but I'm just going to keep checking in on you every once in a while and just seeing how you're doing, because I care about you as a human being, regardless of whether or not this game goes away tomorrow. And there are so many people watching this who want to say the same thing to you, and so I'm kind of speaking not just for me, but on their behalf as well.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, we've gone past the hour. Hopefully it hasn't felt like it's been 10 years.
No.
Thank you
It's been
so much.
So enjoyable.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, life-changing. I mean, the greatest honor of my life is getting to do this interview. And I'll touch base with you after I hit stop recording, but I just want to end this here. Y'all, please comment any additional feedback for him. I'm sure he'll be coming back and checking in. I'm going to have the Gmail for the PayPal donations if you are inclined and feel inspired to give. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. But, prayers are great. Comments are great. Any support you can give. This man is a huge part of this community and always will be. And it was an honor to tell your story.
Absolutely. And thank you again all for your support, mental support, financial, all the above.
My pleasure.
It means the world.
My pleasure. Thanks for watching, YouTube.